What's up, everybody? How's everybody doing? Hope everybody's doing well. Sorry, I had to take a second to get some things in order on the back side of things. Back end, I don't know, whatever word that is. Hey, everybody. Who do we have here? All right, Vlad the Impaler. Yes, you are safe. So I have called off the choppers. We're good. Skit Crasher, good to see you. Charlie Welch, good to see you. Irish Dublin Girl, always a pleasure. Sir Little Wolf, Anthony Vasquez, Stacy Hansen, Damian Paxton, Elizabeth Sylvester says, "Hi, friend. How are you doing tonight?" I'm doing okay. We'll say okay for now because the gym really kicked my butt today. Emily M., good to see you. Good to see you. Good to see you. Let's see here. Brendan Riley says, "Evening all." Brendan, good to see you. Thank you for coming. Let's see here. Aaron Reese, hello, hello. No, I don't want that over here, please. Nope, 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 nope. Come on, take that up. Come on. Later, yes, you show me later. Sorry, guys. Road of Anger, good to see you, says, "A very merry unbirthday to you all." Grendel S., good here, good here. Let's see. Daryl M., good to see you, good to see you. Emily M., Colony L3 says, "Hello, Johnny O, you sexy man beast." Hey, Freckles, good to see you. Zebra the Bicycle Fraudening Inc., you are incorporated now. Very good. It's always important. That way it separates your money from the business money, and you don't have to worry about ever being sued personally. Do you guys like this sign here? Colony L3. That's the one who did it. So make sure you go check out his. You have Etsy, correct? Put that in there somewhere. Let everybody know what you got going on. 3 intros. So pretentious. When in doubt, pinky out. Okay. Jesus. No, I have 3 intros because I try to start the show at 8 o'clock, but I want to, like whatever. I do it because I enjoy it. It gives me lead in time. Okay. Sue me. Sue me. Sue me. Oh, man. I think that's everybody. Ronan, good to see you. Yep. The One Sin, good to see you. Pat Dalger, good to see you. Good to see you. So many beeps. So many. H. Jasper E., good to see you. All right. I'm missing something. Triggered Limey. What? Isn't it past bedtime? Hey, Chalkboy 8, good to see you. Christo, good to see you. Simon H., good to see you. I missed something. I know I did. Hey, Jefferson Spatchcock. Oh, there it is. There it is. Skits Crasher for $2 says, "Hello, Johnny O." Hello, Skits Crasher. Thank you so much for that $2 super chat. I really do appreciate it. Ming Mercy, good to see you. All right. I think that's everybody. Lori Marie, hi all. Hello, hello. If I didn't say hi to you, at me, and I will. But hello to everybody. I hope I didn't miss anybody. If I did, I'm terribly sorry. Simon H., good to see you. All right. J. Carr, hello. A couple people popping in. I see you. Nemo 813. Colony L3 does do really cool work. There's another one here that he sent for the Schrodinger's cat trip. It was supposed to go with us, but because we got iced in here in Texas, of all places, we didn't get to go. But sorry, work. But he did send one for myself and one for I don't know if you can really see what's going on here. I might be able to plug this in. Hang on a second. Give me 2 seconds. Let's see if I can plug this in. 2 seconds. 2 seconds. See, I was able to plug it in. How you like that now? How you like me now? But that's what it looks like. It's really cool. These are really awesome. Really awesome. Hey, Tones Overthinks It. Good to see you. But yeah, there we are. Oh, wait, there it is. Let's see here. The cord isn't long enough for me to put it there. It says, the measure of a person of a hero is how well they succeed at being who they are. Says rest in peace, Schrodinger's cat 2022. Yep. But there it is. Really cool. I really like those. Those are awesome. Like I said, he does really good work. So if you need some 3D printing, you need some designs, or go check out Colony L3. Now I'm gonna have a guest on here in a little bit. But before we do, I wanted to talk about something that kind of caught my attention. And maybe I'm a little late to the game on this one, as my wife let me know earlier, just before starting the show. But How many of you are familiar with Caitlin Ohashi? I'll wait. I'll wait till you answer. You need to hit up Costco for some barbecue stuff. I'm always down for a barbecue. You let me know. We'll do it. So the gymnast, she's a gymnast that had that perfect routine out of UCLA. She was a Bruin. Let me see here. Let me see if I can pull this video up just really quick, just to give you guys a reminder. She's fantastic. She's a terrific gymnast. One of the best, as far as I can remember. I'm not huge into gymnastics by any stretch of the word. And, I'll generally take a look at gymnastics every 4 years when it comes on the Olympics. But let me see if I can find it here. Okay, I'll share this with you guys. She is, like I said, she's really amazing at what she does. I'm sure you are all familiar with this. Ozzy Man did a review when this came out. I think this was from 2019. So let me get this here. Boom. You guys want to be able to hear it? There you go. Yeah, exactly, Vlad Spreadies. Anyway. Okay, that's enough. I don't want to get copyright struck or claimed by anybody. Anyway, so this came out, like I said, I believe this was 2019. And you all saw what she looks like. She's, she's not a fucking rail for, rail's sake, but she's strong. She has a very athletic look. And the only thing that I remember about these types of these like gymnasts is that I remember going as far back as I can remember, back to Mary Lou Retton. Jay Carr, exactly, retired from elite gymnastics and started again in college with UCLA. She was a Bruin, yeah. But she's amazing. She's great. She had that routine that I started to show you got a perfect 10. I had no clue that the gymnastics world was so geez, what is Aaron Reese? I would beg to differ. I think that Coach Val is not. I think she started out negatively, and then when she saw because she was not, and I got all this from there was a documentary about this. Is what I like to watch documentaries, and I get bored and I'll look for random ones and things like this caught my attention when they were talking about the culture of gymnastics. But when Coach Val took over, I think it's Coach Val, when she took over, she had no clue, knew nothing about gymnastics, a complete newbie, right? And then she tried to do it like a drill sergeant. It didn't work out. She saw how negatively it was affecting Caitlin specifically. Hey, Nick Hart. And then she kind of had like a come to Jesus moment where she said, this is not working because this person who has, just masses of talent. Hey, Ziggy for the facts, she wants to quit. She doesn't want to do this anymore. What am I doing to contribute to that? How can I positively affect her as opposed to negatively? So completely changed her whole mindset and attitude when it comes to coaching, and really brought her back into gymnastics in a more positive way. This was when she had this excellent routine, and you could tell when she was doing this routine, the one thing you could tell is she's having a lot of fun, right? But in this documentary series, she was talking about how much like body shaming is a thing in gymnastics. Now, I've known about body shaming in things like dance, ballet specifically, where there's a huge culture about, you got to be super thin. What's going on, Jay? I see you over there. All right, Trick and Limey, good night. Ziggy for the facts, good to see you. Let's see. But yeah, and so when they came out about body shaming in gymnastics, especially talking about Caitlin, who is, as far as I can tell, there's not a damn thing wrong with her body. She's got strong legs. She's curvy, but not I mean, I don't see where the issue would be, right? Um, and that just blew my mind when she's talking about how much body. Like, she was talking about how much she had to, um, like when she was younger, like young, like before like 12, 13, maybe even earlier than that. But she was talking about how her and her friends would have, these parties where they would decide whether they could eat for the rest of the day based on what they've already eaten and how much exercise they've done. Not just fucking blew my mind. I was just flabbergasted. Um, Glenn Sarah doesn't know anything about body shaming. Well, nah. Body shaming is almost constant throughout female sports, regardless of how it affects their performance. You don't see that kind of thing nearly as much in men's sports. You don't, you do, but you don't, right? So it's different. It's different for men, and it depends on the sport. But like jockeys, yeah, it's huge. That's what I'm saying. Like certain cultures, like I was exposed to it and I knew about it, but this one I didn't, which was it just blew my mind that somebody could look at Caitlin Ohashi and be like, nah, she's not perfect. Like, what are you talking about? Look at what she's doing. Um, I was just floored for lack of a better term. Part of the sport is stated to be pleasing to the eye, which, yeah, so that's another thing. What's up, Dan Hatfield? Good to see you. Looking at the rules, they are sometimes a little bit vague. So when they talk about pleasing to the eye, what I thought they meant was like routine wise, but Teresa says, hello, sorry I'm late. Power's out because of a pole fire and a line down. My goodness. Let's see. Chalkboy8 says, why do they sexualize them by making them wear tight, small leotards? I've always been curious about that. Like why that was I mean, I can understand that they don't want like flowing businesses and like dresses or skirts or anything like that because they're doing tumbling. So the routine wise, and they wouldn't want a whole lot of baggy stuff. I can understand like the need for it to be tight, form fitting, because again, they don't want it to get caught up in all the like poles or chains or whatever. I get that, but I mean, she's out there in basically a long sleeve bathing suit. So yeah, that's a little weird. It's a little unusual. Gymnastics works in height to weight to height ratio. They rationalize the smaller the better, which is she's 4'10" and I think 106 pounds. I could pick her up, fold her in half, and put her in my pocket. She's tiny. I just like I said, that really, oh my goodness. The amount of things that she does, right? Her tumbling she needs to have like a stronger lower support system, obviously, to be able to do all those jumps and tumbles and the amount of skill that she has. I just, like I said, it to me, it was just mind blowing. It was mind blowing to me that somebody could body shame any one of these gymnasts, especially on that collegiate and Olympic level. I mean, my goodness, you want to talk about people who are in peak condition to perform in the way that they perform is, you know what I mean? Like, I can understand if somebody came to him and say, hey, your conditioning is out, you're winded and we need you to be better conditioned for the amount of work that you're going to do. I get something like that, but to sit and say, hey, Caitlin, you're too fat. Get the fuck out of here. My goodness. What's up, Beaver C? The original reason for leotards was to emphasize muscles. I mean, I guess that makes sense. What's up, Raven Darkstar? Good to see you. Yeah, so, and then, of course, Jay Carr talking about it's harder to flip with more weight. So, yeah, again, you want to have as much or as little additional weight to your body. Like I said, I can see the rationality behind a little bit, but I don't think putting some legs on that thing that she's wearing would. Maybe would. Maybe, what do I know? I don't know anything about it. Alan says, even worse, look, the requirements we put on the women's beach volleyball teams compared to the men's. Yeah, that's kind of crazy. That's kind of crazy. Hey, Patty, good to see you. BRC, good to see you. Elite versus Olympic level is huge. I mean, I would think that if you're in the Olympic level competing, you would be considered elite. I would consider Caitlin Ohashi elite, especially in 2019. I think she was at the peak of her performance. I think she's retired. She's retired now, if I remember correctly, which is good. Live your life. Axon's Result says, used to my wife would ask me if her jeans made her butt look big, and I had to answer no. 20 years later, the answer is yes. Well, yeah, no. Let's see here. Beach volleyball players are not required to wear bikinis, but they do. They do. I don't think there's a requirement, but it's definitely what do you say? Encouraged. Hey, Keith Newton, good to see you. I am okay. So Zebra the Bicycle for Auditing Inc. says, "What are your thoughts on the new Obi-Wan Kenobi trailer?" I saw that. That was one of the things that. This is a hard shift from the from the topic, but that was one of the things that the new, not the new trilogy, the late 90s, early 2000s trilogy, the 1, 2, and 3. That's one of the things they did very well was cast Obi-Wan Kenobi. Ewan McGregor has almost usurped that role from Alec Guinness. I think that he was the perfect lead in to that. So I'm really excited to see what happens. I noticed that they're looking at, I think it was Embo I saw in there, and a couple other characters. So I'm really interested to see what's going on, what they do with that. Jay Carr said she peaked at 15 and looked sad. Yeah, so watching that documentary, they were talking about that. She was talking about how it wasn't fun for her because of all the pressure that she felt about keeping her weight down, about this, that, and the other. So yeah, I mean, she's just not having fun. Chalk Boy says, you have to say no really fast in the "do I look fat" question. Yeah, you do. It's true. It's true. The one sin says Star Wars is still a thing. Yeah, it is, actually. It's a really good thing. Vader does look a little weird. Yeah, I'm curious. I'm looking to. If I hope it's better than Boba Fett, the Book of Boba Fett. Not that the Book of Boba Fett was bad. I just think the Mandalorian was like really good, and then the Book of Boba Fett came out and it was like not as good. But yeah. Yeah, she was. I thought Caitlin was, again, from my very limited knowledge of gymnastics, I thought Caitlin Ohashi was more enjoyable to watch than Simone. Simone. Sorry, Simone Biles. Not that Simone Biles is bad. It's just I thought Caitlin was better. Hey, Sanji says, "Hey, yo, hope the bad guy got into the pearly gates last night." I'm sure the bad guy did get into the pearly gates. Don't know what's going on. What did I miss? What did I miss? What's up, Prime Red? But yeah, anyway, so that's, I mean, like I said, that's how I wanted to start the show. I wanted to talk about that for a little bit because, again, it was something that just blew my mind that, I mean, I knew that body shaming was a thing, but I don't know why it was such a shock to me to find that in women's gymnastics. My wife looked at me and said, "That kind of." Oh, Scott Hall. I did hear that Scott Hall passed. Yeah. My goodness. Imagine mortgaging your whole childhood to be, approaches abusive culture. That, I've always wondered about that. One of the things I wanted to do, if my kids wanted to do some sports, I'll put them in sports, let them do their thing. If they enjoy it, I'm never going to be the one that's going to be like, all right, let's get up and let's do this and let's do that. And I want them to enjoy sports. I want them to get up and say, "Hey, I want to do this. I want to have fun. Do that." I never wanted to be that guy who's like, "All right, time to go this, time to go that, time to do this. Let's go drills at 6 o'clock in the morning or 5 o'clock in the morning. And let's this, that, and the other." No, are you having fun? My oldest daughter, she joined the cross country team last year and did cross country, and then this year, oh gosh, it wasn't tennis. It was my son who did tennis. Excuse me. My son was in tennis. She switched to choir. That's what she did. She went a different route. But I never wanted to be that guy who's like, "Oh, you have to do this or you have to do that." I want to encourage, "Hey, this is what okay, cool, let's do it." Oh, Linduette Speed, who's been a member of the Plot Hole crew for 7 months, says, "Good evening, Johnny, and all you plotters." Thank you so much, Linduette Speed, for being a member for 7 months. I truly do appreciate it. It's weird because the member chats don't show up on StreamYard, so it's one of those things. Time to do a podcast with two assholes from Texas. That's tomorrow, Aaron Reese. That's tomorrow, Wednesday, not Tuesday. You're getting ahead of yourself. Yeah, whatever happened to playing sports just for fun? That went out the window once we started seeing, $100 million contracts and all this stuff. And everybody's like, "Oh, I got the next Babe Ruth, or I got the next Alex Rodriguez, or I got the next this person, I got the next that person." Let your kids have fun. If they want to play sports, let them play sports. I never understood the gotta push them to do all this and. All right, what are you doing? What's the matter? What do you need? You already had food. He never wants to bother me. I'm telling you, the whole time up to the show, puppy gone. Like, I don't care about Dad. As soon as I sit down here to do this, it's daddy, 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 pat me, pat me, pat me. So yeah. Prime Red says, "Hey, I'm an asshole not from Texas who is always willing to stream." Prime, I would have you on tonight, but I have a special guest coming in, and she should be here soon. One of my favorite creators on the old YouTubes. Haven't had her on before. This will be the first. And I wanted to have her on last Friday when we talked to Craft Tequila about the whole other business with Modern Warrior and Chelsea Hart. I think it's her name. Chelsea something. And I still want to get her opinion on this. This is why I'm bringing her on. So she should be here shortly within 5-10 minutes. Okay. It went out the window when the moms were interested in the pageantry and uniforms. What's this? This is a no yawning zone. But in my defense, the time change really fucks me up. I don't know what it is, but yeah. What's the treats routine? What's this routine we speak of up and out? I'm curious. I played basketball when I was in high school. I lettered in basketball. People don't believe me, but I did. I was a letterman in basketball. My goodness. That's 20 years ago. No, more than 20 years ago. Golly. What's up, effed up world? Oh, I'm so sorry, guys. Feed your pet streams. I tried. He won't come up here for a stream. He won't come here for anything. He's just like, "Oh, look at you." Like, if I stop petting him, he'll jump up here and put his paws up. But when I call him up to show you guys, he won't do it. He just won't. See? He's looking at me like, haha. He's just, yes, end the time change. We don't need it. We don't need it anymore. We don't. We really don't. It doesn't make any sense. I lettered in junior ROTC, never collected the damn thing, still don't regret it. Well, I didn't have the beard. I was forced to shave. We had to shave every day. It was a requirement. I remember one time I forgot to shave. And I had to run extra sprints. So, my goodness. You did make me yawn after world. Hey, Brendan. You just said the word yawn. I had to fight it off. He is camera shy. He is camera shy. What's up, John Collins? You get a letter for that? For ROTC? ROTC, yeah, that's a high school. It's considered a, I forget what it's not a UIL thing, but you get a letter for that. So I was surprised I got a letter for basketball because, again, I was the 10th man on a 9-man team. That's right. That's right. Coach loved to come to me and says, Ortega, you got 5 fouls. I was like, yes, sir, I do. Not by the end of the game, I won't. Tones Overthinks it says, I'd love to hang out with you and JL and stream someday. It's nice to talk about other stuff besides frauditors and soft sits. Love talking movies, pop culture, current events, etc. Tones, we'll have to do it. Matter of fact, let's see if we can't set something up for next week. Next Tuesday. It'd be kind of fun. Lots of fun. Mrs. Kick. Oh, the weather has been like lottery numbers. Can't decide what season to be. Yeah, so here in Texas, we've had all 4 seasons in one day. Winter, it'll be winter in the morning, spring in the afternoon, summer it'll be spring early afternoon, summer afternoon, and then fall. Yeah, it's weird. It is insane. The 10th is the most important. JL, I hope you're listening to this. I hope. Absolutely, Charlie. We'll figure this out. We got to get, here's the thing. I'd like to have as many of you guys on as I can get. But absolutely. What's up, Damian Paxton? I was not the first. You were the first. Stephen Alley says first bench warmer. I was put it to you this way. There's only 9 people on this team, and I was the 10th man. Okay. So that means there were 3 other players that got regular rotation, and I got scrub minutes because, it is what it is. When are you going to watch Logistics movie? I'm trying. I've got it. I've got it on my list to watch. It'll probably come up sometime this week or next week on the way to work because I have to do that. I have to put stuff on to keep me awake on the drive. But that's what I'll do. What's up, Layla Miller? Kenny Thomas, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Says, hope everyone's having a great day. Love your content. Thank you so much. Hey, Mrs. Schrodinger's cat. Good to see you. J.H. Ostrich says, good evening. Good evening. And John Collins says, I love MST. Is that Mystery Science Theater? Love that show. So much fun. I remember my brother and I would stay up and watch that was it Friday night or Saturday night? I can't remember what it came on over here, but yeah, that was so much fun. The woman stalking me in the back is gone. She actually, wait, hang on. Wait. Here she is. She's right here. That's my beautiful wife. So I put her over here so she's closer and looking at me a little, like all the time. Now I see that she's looking at me. So hopefully that keeps me out of trouble. One of those two. But yeah. Oh, you're having a 12-year NASA employee in your channel? Okay, wait a minute. What did he do what did he or she do for NASA? If he or she was just a janitor, that's not, come on. I love that show. It was so much fun. That was that show introduced me to how much fun like B films could be. Elizabeth Stevens says, hey, Johnny, I love the channel, but I'm wondering if you're in Texas, how come you sound like you come from Washington State? I have what they call a Midwest accent. And the reason why I have a Midwest accent is because my mother is from Pennsylvania and my father is from Southern California. So growing up, I grew born and raised in Texas, but my first, the first people that imprinted upon me didn't have that accent. And then, my father's best friend in the entire world, my brother's godfather, he was from, I forget where he was from. He might have been from Texas. He was from the South, but he didn't have that real big Southern draw. And then our other family friends, they were actually from Washington, not Washington State, but Washington. One was from Washington, D.C., and the other one, or from Virginia area, and the other one was from golly, Santa Fe, New Mexico. So I've never had that accent. I've never had the draw. I can do the draw. I can do the Texas accent. It's not real hard. You just gotta kind of let loose, and all of a sudden you're talking like Matthew McConaughey, and there you go. But it just never was me. Never, yeah. So that I don't even I don't know. What's a Southern drawl accent? Well, Mr. Schrodinger's cat, if I had to pick someone who had the quintessential Southern drawl, like the caricature Southern drawl, not that you're bad, that's what I mean. I would say go listen to Mrs. Schrodinger's cat. She's got that real, real Southern drawl accent. After World says much love from Minnesota. I loved Minnesota when I was there. I was in Minnesota in 2014. We were in Twin Cities on a journalism conference. We stayed at the University of Minnesota and went to St. Paul, Minneapolis, and whatnot. It was so much fun. J.H. Ostrich. So here's the thing. It's not that I don't know that body shaming is endemic to every aspect of life. It's that I didn't think about body shaming in these contexts of gymnastics. So, yeah. You've had brain damage? It's possible. It is possible. It is possible. Speaking with a Southern accent is easy. Just speak without moving your tongue. That's part of it. Yeah. Definitely part of it. Hey, Sam, I am good to see you. But yeah, I mean, like I said, it wasn't that I just didn't think about it. It took me by surprise because whenever I see people, especially athletes in peak physical condition, I don't think, oh wow, they need to do this or they need to do that. I'm in awe of what what they have to go through to get there. You know what I mean? Like I said, knowing a little bit more about ballet and performance arts and dance, I know what they have to. I don't know what they have to go through because I'm not a woman and I've never been, I've never done ballet. But having earlier exposure to that, it was, that's something I knew about. Because you when you look at these ballet dancers, I guess it's a little different for me. So when you look at the ballet dancers, I know this is going to sound terrible because it sounds like I'm body shaming again, but I'm not. I'm really not. I don't mean this to be. I'm not trying to be mean. If that makes any sense. But looking at ballet dancers, it's easier for me to believe that there is a body shaming culture because of their bodies, of their body sizes and styles and shapes and whatnot. But whenever I look at and see, that's the thing. Ballet dancers are strong athletes. They have incredibly strong legs. It's just the way they're shaped are different. They're going to be a little leaner because of the style, the weight. You know what I mean? So I don't mean to be. I'm not trying to be mean at all. Absolutely not. All right, Mrs. Kick, no worries. So when I look at like Caitlin Ohashi or any gymnast or any athlete, and I look at them and like, oh, all right, there we go, cool. Even like linemen in the NFL, knowing that they're bigger guys, but they still have that, they still have that athletic foundation. So I learned to do a fake Southern accent watching Martin Sheen in Gettysburg. Martin Sheen does a really good Southern accent for someone who's not from the South. Yeah, I guess it's more it's more believable because when you're talking about, because from what I understand in ballet, there's a problem with anorexia, problem with eating disorders. I can see that, like looking at ballet dancers, I can see that why that would be a thing because of the way they're shaped. When you look at Caitlin Ohashi and she talks about, hey, we used to have parties about, what if we were allowed to eat or not for the rest of the day based on our exercise routine or what we did that day, what we ate that day. and looking at her, looking at how like physically strong she looks, I guess that's what really took me by surprise, is because I remember reading an article about Michael Phelps, the swimmer, talking about he 10,000 calories a day just to be able to keep up and maintain with what he was doing with his regimen and routine and whatnot. So I'm thinking, and he was fucking lean cut swimmer. So yeah. Elizabeth says, do you think Sidewalk Boy is gone for good then? No. Look, here's the thing, and this is I've got a thing. Negligent says, where'd he go? I missed it. Oh, here's I'm half hour late. How many finger guns did I miss? None. No finger guns. No, he's not gonna be gone for good. And this is what I got planned. If the flat earth debunker community couldn't get rid of Daniel Pratt, we're not going to be able to get rid of Silence Boy. Just not. He'll be back. He'll have a new channel. He'll be doing his thing. This is the way it's going to go. Cuddly Unicorn. No, you didn't miss anything. We're just having some fun here. Just having a little bit of fun. But yeah, so you're right. Sidewalk Boy will never go away. She spit in my face. We'll be back sometime soon. It's just, Is this the one that can't gain weight? Like she has a physical or a health condition where it doesn't matter. She cannot gain weight. Oh, I think we have a wonderful guest. Folks, please join me in welcoming Natalie Lawyer Chick to the stream.
Hey, everybody. Can you hear and see me? Because I've had so many technical issues just now.
I can see and hear you. Absolutely, coming in loud and clear.
Thank you so much for inviting me. I guess I'm echoing or something. I don't know. But my computer, for some reason, StreamYard is like crashing my computer right now. So I opened it up on my phone. So this is a little different. Now I'm like in the skinny view, so I'm not quite sure. But so nice to see you and to be here. Hey, Mrs. Kick, thank you for coordinating this. Hello, everybody.
Absolutely. Ian Cook for $20. Thank you so much. If you have something you want to just at me and I'll read that out for you. So originally, I was going to bring you on last week. I tried to get you coordinated, but you had court or you had work. You had work for a living.
Yeah.
How dare you? I wanted to get your opinion, seeing as how we call you Natalie Lawyer Chick, not because it's just a clever name, because it's something that you do.
For an actual living, yes.
Right. You have an extensive background in legalese. How familiar are you with the whole modern warrior Chelsea TikTok thing?
Not at all.
Okay, consider yourself lucky.
Okay.
Don't do TikTok, folks. Just don't do TikTok. If you guys think Twitter is a cesspool, TikTok is worse. Skits Crasher for $2 says, hello, Natalie Lawyer Chick.
Hello.
All right, so here's the thing, real quick, just a quick wrap. And this really isn't about Modern Warrior or Chelsea. It's about the things that came about because of this. So I don't know if you know who Modern Warrior is even a little bit, but his claim to fame was a hey colonizer. He is indigenous and he fights for indigenous rights through very controversial ways. Calling out people whom, well, let's just face it, he calls a lot of white folks hey colonizer. And he and this Chelsea had a relationship or whatever. He brought up some stuff about, I'm looking for polyamorous relationships, and she says, no, I don't want to do polyamorous relationships. I want to be, exclusive. Yet she still flew herself out there and still ended up having unprotected sex with her. Now, her claim is she was under the impression that it was a monogamous relationship. He was not. She found out later that he had other partners. and she brought up the whole informed consent argument,
Hmm.
stating that she did not have informed consent because he didn't disclose that he was having multiple partners.
Oh, excuse me.
Salute.
Interesting.
And my issue with that is when you claim that you didn't have informed consent, you are claiming that you have been sexually assaulted.
Hmm.
I don't think what happened between those two was a sexual assault. And here's the thing: when I say this, she has gone on with other people who kind of came out, like jumped the gun and started, showing her support, which whatever, because she makes this really produced video or this lights and this music in the background and crying about the whole situation and whatnot, and talking about I didn't have informed consent. And a lot of people are like, hey, yeah, well, if you're talking about that, that's sexual assault. And she didn't correct me, like, no, I was not sexually assaulted. She was like, I don't know if I was sexually assaulted or not. She left it ambiguous.
Huh. This is really interesting. So I find this immensely fascinating, number one. Um, Everything from the context that you've provided to this. So I will just give a disclaimer that I've never heard of these people in my life. At least I don't think so. The hate colonizer thing sounds vaguely familiar. I feel like I've seen that somewhere before, but I can't like even put a face to it.
Mhm.
I thought it was just a hashtag. So I think I've heard of that, just to be fair. But when it comes to the ultimate question of, and you can take these two out of it, you can make them hypothetical people because this is a common enough situation. Engaging in a sexual relationship with someone and becoming pregnant by them. Did she get pregnant? Is that what she said?
She, I not that I know of, but she
Oh,
did.
unprotected sex.
Yeah, she had unprotected sex,
Um,
but she did make the the appeal to emotion. I could be pregnant with your child.
oh, okay. Okay. So she had unprotected sex with someone, and before she came out there to have unprotected sex with him, is this according to her that he said he wanted an open relationship and she said no?
Right. That was her recount of the story, that they had
Now,
a brief conversation before about polyamorous relationships.
okay. Okay. I'm processing. Okay, so here's what I think is implicated here legally. I think of a couple of things at play. Number one, this is absolutely, in my opinion, there may be a lawyer out there that disagrees. This would not be sexual assault. Because yes, oh, for example, maybe you had sex with someone believing that they were a millionaire and they lied about that, but you believed it and you had sex with them anyway with that belief. There was never any prostitution involved, but you just believed it. And you later on find out that they're not. The fact that some precondition to your sexual experience that you have within your own mind was not met does not mean that at the moment that you had sex with them, you did not consent to the sexual intercourse, because informed consent really is as to the act of actively having sex. There have been ways in which that's been expanded, like with condom use. So, for example, a man and a woman, will use that binary. A man and a woman having sex, and the woman believes the man is going to take off, going to wear a condom, and he takes it off, stealthing, right? That would more implicate in the moment. These are the conditions to us having sex right now, the physical act, and you're doing something physically which I did not agree to. And I agreed to sex, but not condomless sex. And now you've exposed me to diseases. This, you could kind of think of that as akin to, he has multiple sex partners, right? But like, it's like you had an agreement between you that you were going to use a condom and you didn't use a condom. And so it is amounting to sexual assault because you are entering my body in a way in which I did not consent to. Like, it
Mhm.
has to do with the way in which they are touching you. Different acts of sex, each of them must be consented to. If one person is into a certain type of kink, the other person isn't, then you engage in something that makes another person feel unsafe. It could go from consensual sex to unconsensual sex if you don't listen to what this person agreed to up front. And
Right.
as thing progresses, you don't account for the fact that someone is revoking consent in the midst and you still proceed. That can also become sexual assault. So there are ways in which it's not just straight up like I said no and he did it anyway. It can be we started, we agreed, we both had this thing, and then you did something to my body or she did something to my body that I did not agree to. That can become sexual assault. However, if I'm taking your situation at face value, not knowing anything else about the case, you went to wherever he lives knowing that he was not agreeing to have a monogamous relationship with you, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you wanted a certain condition. He wanted a certain condition. You did not agree on the condition or solidify whether or not one person or the other was going to, go along with the other's beliefs. And you decided to take the risk and have sex with him anyway. How on earth could that be? Well, first of all, it can't be sexual assault because it's not about the actual sex, right? But how on earth could that be what I would think of as fraud? That's what's really implicated here is fraud, not sexual assault. So to say sexual assault is, of course, it's very salacious, but it's legally inaccurate because when you're talking about informed consent, you're talking about the physical act. When it comes to fraud in relationships, and this can arise. So even non-marital relationships, claims of fraud can arise civilly, not criminally, but civilly, like a lawsuit, if certain conditions were agreed upon when engaging in a relationship, and then one party acts in a fraudulent manner. And a good example of this is Mariah Carey and her former fiance. He was some type of billionaire or something allegedly, and they were engaged. And after their split, she sued him successfully for wasting her time. But what it really amounted to was a fraud claim. He never had any intention to follow through with what he had promised. And these were outside of the parameters of just a normal engagement. There were other things they had agreed he didn't do. But if you engage in sexual congress with someone who does not have the same belief system that you have, even according to you, then that is a risk that you take, right? You assume the risk that you told him what you wanted and he didn't want that. He told you what he wanted and you didn't want that. You assume the risk by having sex with that person that they may be having sex with other people. And the same would go for just anyone in a casual dating situation. Unprotected sex is not a guarantee of monogamy or fidelity or anything. It's just unprotected sex. So unless you have some type of agreement or vow between you, verbal contract, something like that, you are assuming the risk of exposure to STDs every single time you have unprotected sex with someone, right?
Mm-hmm.
Married women have a hard time winning claims when their husbands expose them to deadly diseases when cheating on them. Claims like that have been brought, but it always comes into play with how much did you know about his infidelity? How much did you accept and continue to have sex with this person after you knew that they were unfaithful? This person wasn't even necessarily unfaithful to you because you didn't have a relationship. You were just having sex with one another. So more the fool you for having unprotected sex with someone that you met on the internet. That's all that happened. There's nothing there. Like, it's definitely not sexual assault. The only claim that could be brought is a civil claim for fraud, but there was no agreement that he defrauded you with, unless somebody that supports her would come out and say, actually, he said, it'll just be me and you. But I really doubt that, seeing as how she met him on the internet and came to his house and didn't know him.
Right. Yeah. And, the funny thing is, with all the stuff that she had been releasing, it's all she released like conversations and trying to say that he manipulated her and this, that, and the other. And you're looking at what she's presenting reading the screenshots and seeing everything that's coming out, you're like, he's not being the aggressor here. You're being the aggressor. And that right there is extremely telling when you're talking about this situation, because it seems as if she's trying to weaponize sexual assault in order to get back at someone who she believes was cheated on her or took advantage of her.
Well, it seems like he's not willing to allow someone else to weaponize it. Because you said she didn't outright say, yeah, I was sexually assaulted, but other people said it and she wouldn't say, no, I wasn't, or she'd say, I don't know. She's at least willing to imply it. And I think that's dangerous, right? Because it should be clear what consent is in sexual relationships. And what it is enthusiastic consent for all sexual activity between the people. It is not a guarantee of fidelity. It just isn't, you know? Um, and there are certain risks that come along with non-monogamous relationships that if you're willing to take on those risks, there's nothing wrong with that as an adult. But when you bear the consequences of those risks, and I think every single living, breathing adult, has at some point in time, even if they've dealt with the same person their entire life, which is highly unlikely, right? But you have all faced certain risks and we've all accepted those risks. And unless someone outright told you this is exclusive, it's just me and you really don't have much that you can stand on, even ethically. Because I really the way that I see it is that people are single until they're engaged or married, unless like they're like in a committed non-married partnership. Of course, those are of course just as valid, but just dating, meeting people on the internet, flying out to their house, you're single. You're all single. Like, just relax, you're not entitled to fidelity.
Yeah, so that brings me to the next question: is how did the line get so blurred between personal responsibility that we're even having this conversation? How did that happen?
I don't think the line is blurred. I really think that anyone that's actually acting in good faith would never make that comparison. Like, I feel like it's just such a bad comparison that it's almost offensive to say that because you found out that he likes other girls and is dating other women and having sex with other women, he has somehow sexually assaulted you, is a horrible thing to say, because I think it's very clear what sexual assault is. I don't think there's really any question. I think it's clear why it's sexual assault to take off the condom without telling the person, right? Like, that's not fair. Like, you both agreed to use condoms. That's why you had it on. And to take it off, you should agree to take it off. You should not try to trick someone, It should be understood that it is sexual assault to engage in like certain kinks that can become dangerous if the other person is not into it, because you could either harm them physically or emotionally. And so, both people have to agree to that enthusiastically the moment that they go into it. And it's very clear that obviously if someone says no at any point during the encounter, beginning, middle, or end, you are to stop, and you should not proceed with someone who said no. And that best practices are to get affirmative consent. So not just, let me put it to you this way. It can be ethically a gray area when someone is engaging in sex and inside they don't feel comfortable or they don't want to do it, but they're not saying anything and the other person is like just trying to convince them, right? That's where more like the ethical gray area comes in, but that is never a legal gray area, right? Because if the person is attempting sex with someone and the other person doesn't say no, right, or show any indication that they want to stop whatsoever, even if they just lay there like a fish and they're of consenting age, then there's no indication that could be proven to a jury beyond a reasonable doubt that a sexual assault has occurred. However, you don't want to live your life as, am I going to go to jail for this? You just like want to live your life as a decent human being who doesn't hurt other people.
Exactly.
Right? So I think it's like pretty easy to be like, hey, are you into this? Are you down with this? Is this the right move? Or, and it's a yes along the way. Let's do this. And it can be fun and everything. And so, ethically, at least, the person that you're dealing with is into what you're into, and everyone's having a good time because you're just a good person, right? And the whole reason you're doing this is because you want to have a good time. You want your partner to have a good time. But that's a separate, so that might be a gray area for some people, because maybe some people are uncomfortable with initiating affirmative consent, which is different from revocation of consent. But when it comes to legalities, initiating sexual contact with someone who goes along with it, who doesn't say no, who reciprocates in some way, that is not sexual assault. She had willing sex with this person, knowing that he was not committed to her. There is no sexual assault. It's scummy, maybe, like,
Oh, sure.
like it's like a thing, like it's scum. But on one hand, yes, it's scum. Yeah, okay. But also, why are you having unprotected sex with somebody you met on the internet?
And you see, that's why I wanted to talk about personal responsibility. We got to have some sort of the onus on that, like especially since, I mean, I don't want to assume your age. I have no idea how old you are, but I grew up in the '80s. I
Oh,
know what the what's that?
I'm 37. I was born in the 80s, and I should say I grew up in the 90s, really, because I didn't really know what was going on in 84 when I was born.
I guess that's fair. I probably came to. I mean, I'm born in '81, so I'm not that much older than you, but
No, we're the same generation.
yeah, same gen. Well, no, because you are firmly a millennial. The jury's still out on whether or not I'm Gen Y, Gen whatever, Gen X or millennial. So, Joshua Lee for $5 says, I've seen a lot of men that got arrested, legal issues just based on what the partner said. It is worse depending on the state. Yeah, some states don't have revocation of consent. You can't revoke consent mid-sex, which I think is completely bonkers.
Yeah. I mean, you can revoke, but it doesn't mean that any charges are going to come out of it.
Right. Yeah, yeah, I guess you can say no, but they're not
Yeah.
gonna. Uh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, I was just going to say that many times you got to remember that probable cause is a very de minimis standard, which is what officers or prosecutors need to proceed with charges on any case, anything at all. And so that probable cause can be based on hearsay. And so just the word of another person with no corroboration can form the basis for probable cause, even if you have no other way to prove it in court other than she said that this is what happened. But also remember, so that makes things tough, really, really tough. I defend people that are charged with these types of crimes. Um, and also is what helps us the most when it does eventually get to trial, because usually there is no corroboration. But remember that sex doesn't usually happen in public. It happens in private. And so does assault. So because of that, yes, it's very difficult that probable cause is such a low standard to even charge someone, but they're gonna have to charge and at least investigate, because if you waited for corroboration to be present in every single SA case, there would be people that are assaulted that do not receive justice. So that is the flip side of it.
Yeah, it gets real complicated in those situations, especially because it really is. I mean, this is a private thing that one person is going to say one thing and the other person is going to say another. And unless, it was a group orgy, Studio 54 type thing, you know what I mean? We gotta,
Oh,
right.
and it's really tough with someone said to be careful with the words. So I'm sorry. I'm trying to check the chat, but I have to click out of the view of me seeing you in order to see the chat on the phone. It's not that great. So but I did see someone to say for me to be careful. So when you're talking about these types of SA cases, it kind of like they're easier to prove when it's like strangers, like stranger SA
Right.
versus like a dating SA. Those are so tough, so tough, and they're the more common types. And you're more likely to be, as a woman. I can't speak for men because I'm not aware of the statistics on men, I'm only aware of these. I would have to look up the men's.
It's surprisingly, I mean, it's a lot more than people would think. I've looked
Yeah,
at,
people
I
think it's like
mean,
zero, but it's not. Like um heterosexual men are victims of SA. They are victims, and so like when I say heterosexual, I mean that like women can be perpetrators as well, is what I'm trying to say.
right.
So, but when I'm talking about the male female dynamic where the male is the alleged perpetrator, like for verified accounts, women are more likely to be assaulted by an intimate partner or
Mhm.
someone that's a friend. Take like, oh, like he always liked her, he's a friend, and doesn't accept the rejection or
Right.
approach her, so puts something in her drink and does something to her, or waits until she's drunk and does something to her. That is way more common than a stranger finding someone on the street, you know?
Than
Um,
a regular R case. Gotcha.
yeah,
Yeah.
so it makes it tough to investigate and confirm those if they already had an established relationship, you know?
Mhm.
Um, it makes it really, really hard to go forward with those cases. So, yeah, sorry, I'll stop there.
No,
Mhm.
you're good. Josh Relief for $10 says, on a related note, what does the law say about these folks that knowingly spread disease by having relations? I'm thinking of those who knowingly had AIDS and had intercourse. That's an interesting one, right? Because you have people. There are some people that that as long as they're disclosing their health, there's nothing wrong there. But if they're
Mhm.
out there doing the deed without any kind of, hey, this is what's going on with me, and there's an issue there.
Yeah, so states do legislate for that. Like you said, it's all about that informed consent, right? We're all talking informed consent here. So when it comes to people with AIDS or HIV, um, they can have relations with people. And I know that there's like PrEP out there, like there's different drugs that they can take, and then also so like prophylactics that they can take that reduces
Mhm.
transmission. And then there's also like barrier methods like condoms and things like that for protection in the moment. And as long as everyone is honest with each other and discloses their status, there's no issue there. They have the right to have fulfilling lives like everyone else, even if they have um, a uh, a stigmatized disease. But in some states, and this is being reversed in some states and not expounded upon, they're kind of older laws that were reactionary to the 80s when there were less protocols available. But in some states, it can be like almost akin to the punishment you get for like attempted murder.
I was just going to say
Yeah.
that. Yeah, I think California is a little strict, very strict on it. I think that is an attempted murder on that one in California.
Yeah.
Texas, I think they just look at you funny while throwing a flower or something at you.
Yeah, no, they in some states they prosecute it as knowingly. I think my state might have a law on the books for that because Maryland's good for some weird funky little funky laws that you don't know about until like it's random. But
Right.
I think there are several states that have laws that are like knowingly expose someone to this without prior disclosing, because even though it's not it used to, and you kind of have to understand where they were coming from at the time. It was a death sentence at one point in time. It was just like
Oh, absolutely.
you did not live past a certain amount of time.
I think 12 to 18 months max.
That's
Yeah.
terrifying. That's
Yeah.
terrifying. Now there are people that live long term with it as a chronic illness, and the treatments have gotten a lot better. So some states are like kind of like relaxing that, not because it's okay to spread, but because sometimes it's hard to prove that knowing element in court. Again, you can suspect one thing and then charge it, but then when you actually take it to trial, you have to prove that that person knew that they had this disease and that they were intentionally trying to infect another person. And that's really hard to show. There was one guy, I can't remember what state it was. It might have been New York. But it was like maybe in the 2010s or something like that, or maybe like right before 2010, something around there. And he was an African American man. He was light skinned. Like I remember the whole article, and he was convicted of infecting multiple young women with it. And they said it was like clearly intentional that he was like going around and like spreading it to people because out of anger, hatred, malice, ever, but he was intentionally infecting these women, not disclosing his status, and he was successfully prosecuted. That's the type of case that is usually successful in those cases, but a lot of times it's hard to prove the person even like knew at the time that they had something. But I think it's clearly unethical to intentionally infect anyone with anything, and I don't know. I feel as though I don't want to stigmatize people with HIV and AIDS. I don't think that that stigma is necessary or helpful. But the thing that we can all take from that is that when you have unprotected sex, the person that you're sleeping with could have anything. You have,
Right.
you know.
Yeah, that's again, it goes back to personal responsibility. Sam I Am, who's been a plot hole crew member for 7 months, says, for me, there has to be trust before sex. And that's a good way to go. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say, hey, follow my model, because my model isn't the greatest. But, it might be a good thing to think about these types of things before you get into these relationships.
Yeah.
Sam Am says, I have to watch the rest tomorrow. I must sleep. Good night, Sam. Thank you for stopping by.
Happy Sam.
Is it a birthday for Sam?
Is it?
Happy sleep. Did you say happy sleep?
Oh, just did I say happy birthday or happy sleeping?
I don't know. That's what I'm asking.
I meant to say happy sleeping, but I'm obviously very tired, so who knows what. Sam. So, and I did want to say this about the whole thing. That's like so like difficult and tough, right? Is you have okay, so if someone assaults you, that is not your fault. Let's make that very clear here. Being assaulted, someone doing something to your body that you did not consent to, right? That's what it means. Physical contact with your body without consent. It needs to be that, right? That has to be present at all times. However, we do have personal responsibility, each and every single one of us, for our own health. And so it's a little bit different, right? For someone who's married, where you're going to expect that your spouse will be faithful. But look at that. Even then, spouses are unfaithful and bring all types of things home. You got to think about all the celebrities and things that you see that have children outside of their relationships and marriages. Those children could just as easily be STDs, right?
Mm-hmm.
So to remind yourself that it doesn't matter, that it's not about virtue, right? It's not about whether or not you are engaging in relations with a person you're committed to or not, or if you're in a monogamous relationship, or if you're married, or whatever the case may be. It's not about that. It's about, you must get regular health checks. You have to do that, right? So you really do need to get
right.
And if you are engaging with a new partner, it is important to ask for their STD testing results. I am very, very serious about this. This is something I advise a lot of people that I know. I'm not a healthcare professional, obviously, but I've worked and lived in certain communities and done a lot of outreach work on this issue. Please, please, please. I know that it might seem uncomfortable, but it can be something funny and fun because you get the results on your phone. Just share your results. Like, people are willing to share so many things about each other in the social media age. Share your results, your test results, and so that everyone knows what everyone has. There's nothing to hide. What is there to hide? And then wait. If you want to have that type of sex, I would advise against it. You should use condoms. You should use protection. But if you're not going to use protection with someone that you're not committed to, please at least know what their health status is.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So, like, if you're gonna, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, you don't know this person. You do not know them.
Even if you do, right? Even if you do know the person,
you're right.
Exactly. Ultimately, you're responsible for your sexual health.
Yeah.
And if you're not going to ask these questions, then you are assuming a lot of risk. And one of those risks could be unplanned pregnancy.
Yeah.
That's an STI that, well, you can get rid of, but if you don't, well, it's lifetime. It's forever, right? I'm kidding. Kids are not STIs or STDs. It was a joke. Please don't crucify me, internet.
Right. You're fine.
Joshua Lee, who's been a member of the Plot Hole Rockaholics for 6 months, says, Johnny O is the same age as me. Awesome sauce. That just means we both have rickety old knees.
Mhm.
But yeah, the whole idea that, and this is the issue that I've kind of taken. I guess I've taken it on a little bit more, was the implications of SA and R words and whatnot. It's like, come on, if the whole thing, well, you should believe the victims, always believe the victims, right? And when you have people who do this type of thing here, it makes it more difficult for us cynical assholes to always believe the victim.
Yeah.
And that's dangerous. That's why I can't stand it when these people do these things, because
Mm.
that just shows that you have no regard for a person, that you're willing to ruin a person's life.
Yeah.
Um,
It makes me almost wonder what their interests, or maybe what her interest was in him in the first place. Because
yeah,
sharing of personal information, because all it sounds to me is you got cheated on, or if not cheated on, a guy doesn't want you in a way in which you want to be wanted, and it's a feeling of rejection. Why then does the whole world need to see your text message conversations?
this is
You know what
something that never should have been put on, social media to begin with. This is a private matter. You guys,
matter?
you know, um, I like I said, it's one of those things. I never understood how the TikTok algorithm works. The first time I downloaded it, I got like a bunch of women taking their clothes off and whatnot. I was like, the fuck, this is not for me. So I deleted it, and then everybody's like, well, you got to do the TikTok thing if you want your YouTube channel to grow. Like, how the fuck does that work? And then, well, but this, that, and the other. So I downloaded TikTok again, and all of a sudden this modern warrior guy kept popping up, and hey, colonizer, hey, all right, fuck off.
Uh-huh.
And this is type of stuff. I don't know what happened, but all of a sudden there's this Chelsea lady on there, crying about, I didn't have informed consent. I'm like, what? And as I
She
watched,
You know what you invoke when you say things like "I didn't have informed consent."
right, and
Yeah.
that's why. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, that's all I was gonna say. You know what you invoke. Go ahead.
Right, and that's the thing. In watching this whole thing unfold, he did the smart. Well, I say the smart thing. He did the smarter thing and shut the fuck up. Just stop talking. Like he
Mm.
stopped.
That is, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And she kept on going. Like he put out this apology video that was a terrible apology. I mean, terrible apology.
What did he apologize for?
He apologized for not being an effective communicator.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm.
But
That means okay.
yeah, right. How that is, I don't know how that helps in this situation, but he took it down. Anyway, he took it down. He was real quiet about it, but she kept like posting and posting and posting and posting, and it just got crazier and crazier and crazier. And, you could tell that there was a little element of, I need sympathy. I need sympathy. I need sympathy. And it would get like the story would just get bloated, more bloated the longer it went. And it finally come out like part of her deal was she was like, I was manipulated because he used the fact that and these are her words, I had to bury a child, right? Saying it the way she said it. What do you think that means? I had to bury a child.
That she'd had a child that died.
Right. Uh, Most people would think, maybe it was a car accident, maybe there was a medical thing, or maybe the child fell, or maybe she had a miscarriage, these types of
Yeah.
things here. And she characterized it as her having a miscarriage. Well, it turns out it was an abortion. Now, again, I don't know the trauma that goes on with an abortion. I'm sure there's an emotional trauma, physical trauma that happens, but her equating what she went through, or her characterization of what she went through as a miscarriage in the beginning, is insensitive at the very least.
Ah, I really have to again. Everything I trust what you're telling me, but I don't know anything outside of what you're telling me, right? But this sounds absolutely outrageous. So an abortion does not equate to bearing a child. First of all, because um, you know, that is a voluntary act that you take on, unless it's like you're doing something for the health of the mother, like she won't survive the pregnancy, so you have to terminate. But there's nothing to bury after an abortion, so
Right.
that doesn't even make any sense. Like, what are you talking about? The pregnancy is too early. There's nothing to bury. But also, how distasteful to make it seem as though it's the same as a woman who suffers a miscarriage. Again, I believe in a woman's right to choose. I have no judgment on women that get abortions, none whatsoever. I just
Right.
they're not they're not the same. They're not the same. And that seems like, and that's not okay. More okay, I'm being a little bit inartful, but what I'm really trying to say is this. No one that's had an abortion, I believe, can't speak from experience, but no one that's had an abortion, I believe, would characterize it as burying a child. I don't even think that people that have had miscarriages would characterize it as burying a child. Maybe somebody with a stillbirth, because a
Right.
miscarriage pregnancy, stillbirth is like after a certain period where it's like a full, developed
Mhm.
baby. Maybe then, but definitely not bury a child for a miscarriage. That's why I said, oh, she lost a child. So maybe she had like a 3-year-old and they died in a car accident or something.
Exactly.
Yeah,
That was what was the most upsetting, was the way that she was characterizing this.
that's
And you can tell she was like really building up this, I'm the victim, I'm the victim, I'm the victim. Look at me, sympathize with me. You know what I mean? And that's what makes it more egregious. What she did was more egregious.
that's um that's weird, man. That's all I can say about that. That's weird. This is weird behavior from everyone. Um, I'm not against internet dating at all. I just wish that people would like use their engaging um when engaging in internet dating or any dating, the same paradigms that you had for courting and dating in the 90s, the early 2000s, the 80s, and the 70s no longer apply now, right? It's a different world. So you cannot apply those values to this type of dating. You met someone that has a relatively, from what you say, relatively large following on TikTok through TikTok, right?
Mhm.
So they are basically more like a parasocial relationship. You're kind of a fan, you're kind of a groupie
Right.
up to him. And I'm not saying that he didn't also reach out to you. I'm just saying, like, you're kind of like a fan and you go out to him and he tells you he doesn't want an exclusive relationship, but you expect for him to play by exclusive relationship. He picked you up at the prom. He picked you up at home and took you to the prom and your dad chaperoned you type of roles. Those
Right.
don't apply to your situation. So be smart and act accordingly. Don't have, if you can't handle the emotional turmoil of you engage in an act that maybe you see as intimate, which is unprotected sex. Not everyone sees that as particularly intimate, That's not intimate to everyone. So
Right.
you see that as intimate, and now he's not treating you as an intimate partner and your feelings are hurt. That's probably more what happened than you did not have informed consent.
Right. Pearl Haggard asks, is she claiming she would have had kept the unwanted pregnancy if he had agreed to her terms? Now, this is a separate issue, right? So
Right.
she was, part of her deal was her interactions with Modern Warrior were that she opened up about her history, her past, because she felt she could trust this person. And she claims that he took advantage of her, of knowing that, that pain and um, in order to get into her pants. Again, those are her words. So it wasn't like he knocked her up and then she, aborted because he didn't want to be in a monogamous relationship. That the abortion happened way before.
So
For me, it was. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
this wasn't his child.
No, 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 no. This was something that happened, a year or two, or after a distant past. Um, that she told him about. So that was her contention. Her contention was, because I told you about this stuff, you used that to take advantage of me to get me in the sack. And again, everything that she put out doesn't paint the picture of him being the aggressor, like the text messages and whatnot. Like she was, she made claims of, well, I don't want to say she made, excuse me, I don't say she made claims, but I think she made claims that he asked to see intimate photographs of her, And then she shows like a screenshot of a conversation where it's her saying, "Hey, I want to put these things on for you. Hey, I want you to see this. Hey, 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 hey." And then here's a picture.
Right.
You know what I mean? It
Hey,
just
so, but here's the thing, right? Like, even taking her version at face value, he was a cad then. He was a jerk, right?
sure.
Um, he sweet talked you in order to get you into bed. He played game on you. He did not assault you. And you did not have informed consent because he said sweet nothings in your ear or in your inbox to get you to come to see him and have sex with him unprotected. Everyone needs to know that when engaging in consensual contact with a romantic interest, that person could not be who they portray themselves to be. That person could not have your interests, your best interests at heart. And so you have to guard yourself accordingly. That's the inherent risk of dating or mingling or sleeping with people. Like,
Yeah, random hookups, right?
that's always been there. So you're gonna have to take that one on the chin. We all don't need to know about that. Now, if he had actually assaulted you and he's holding himself out as some type of activist, then sure, yeah, tell us all about
Right.
it, right? Because it's like I don't want to support, not that I've supported him because I don't know him. But I don't want to support now, but I found this picture just now. I've definitely seen him before. I don't want to support someone who assaults people. So that's fine. But okay, he's not a nice boyfriend or potential boyfriend. Then don't talk to him anymore. This is not a matter of interest. It just isn't.
Yeah, it just like I said, when I saw this stuff pop up, I'm thinking, oh, for fuck's sake, just,
Mm-hmm.
my goodness.
So I'm reading an article about it right now. I guess other people said they had similar with him. Yeah, he's a player. He's using his TikTok platform
Right.
of activism to attract women, which is trashy. It's pretty like, okay, this whole like colonizer thing. Are you really about the act? Or are you trying to get some? And
Yeah.
but it's not a crime.
Right. And again, I definitely wanted to make mention that there are other people who said that the same thing happened to them, but they didn't go out and, hey, look at this, it's all over the internet. Oh, I got cheated on or I got played. You know what I mean? Aaron Reese says a possibility of being fooled, especially by someone on the internet, is part of human interaction, and everyone should know it's a possibility. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, I hate to say it, and I'm not trying to minimize what Modern Warrior did, because I think what he did is pretty scummy, right? It's get to know somebody and on a personal level, and you shouldn't try and play people. I think that's kind of shitty.
Yeah.
But to go out and say that, hey, this is an essay, or maybe it's an essay, or I didn't have informed consent.
I didn't have informed consent. Yeah, you've kind of won me over with the idea that that's really trying to imply something that is just not there.
Right.
Yeah. I agree with that. That's not there, and it's definitely implying that.
It just that stuff irritates me because it detracts from victims who this is a terrible thing that victims go through, right? I've never been in that situation. I've got, my wife has been a victim of sexual assault, so it really diminishes from victims who have these types of things, because what it does is it gives people who want to sweep this shit under the rug more ammunition to say, well, but look what happened over here. This was, you know what I mean? So how can I believe you? So now I'm going to question you about what you were wearing and what you were doing. And against that victim blaming thing. And you know what I mean? It's people like this that really perpetuate victim shaming.
Yeah, they do. They're a part of the problem, right? There's people that are gonna victim shame and blame no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't give them ammunition. And it's just like with the video I put out today. I filmed it a couple days ago, but I put it out today on Jussie Smollett, where it's like faking a hate crime is going to just give ammunition to the people that are like, hate crimes don't happen. Black people are making it up.
Right.
Asian people are making it up. Gay people are making it up, It's a rarity. It rarely ever happens, or it doesn't happen at all. And the same goes for this, because um, one of the issues with, the Me Too movement was, in the midst of the movement, there were people like, Harvey Bill Cosby had allegations against him, and Janice Dickinson jumped out and said Cosby assaulted me. And then I think it was like proven that whatever she alleged, like, could not have happened, because there's like no way he was where she said he was.
Oh, he was in a different town playing a different venue.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Like, it's literally impossible. He could not have assaulted you. You're a liar. She is a person that's documented to have lied when she this is like a little pet peeve of mine, so it's something I remember. She told Sylvester Stallone that he was the father of her child or children. It turned out to be someone else, and she kept that up for like years.
Mm-hmm.
Knew that he was not the father, and it turned out someone else was the father. So she has like a problem with lying when it comes to her dating history. But people like that have like a deep-seated need for attention, and it's called vulnerable narcissism, where like they want, in order to receive the attention, they want to be the victim, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like they want to be the one that is attacked, the one that's hurt, so that they can feel like people are rallying around them, right? And so people like her, like Jussie Smollett, like potentially this lady, based on what you said, it's something that's wrong with them, but they find movements and moments and try to make it about them, and they'll literally lie. Rachel Dolezal is another one. She faked hate crimes about herself, pretended she was a Black woman, and then pretended like she was being attacked for being Black in, like, I think it was the state of Washington. I think it was in Washington. And she was like the head of the NAACP, and it turns out and she wasn't even, Black. So it's like but it doesn't mean that racism and hate crimes don't exist. It doesn't mean that SA doesn't exist. It just means that there are sick people out there who will try to be an opportunist for any situation, and people that are scorned. Like, you're scorned in the relationship, you didn't get what you wanted out of it, and now you're happy to make spiritualist allegations against someone that imply SA when SA didn't happen. He's I looked on his Instagram just now, like, he might want to sue her, so she might want to be careful with that.
Yeah, I mean, she said some pretty inflammatory things that have cost him a significant amount of supporters on TikTok, Instagram, through social media, which is, I imagine, how he makes his money. I mean, when you have 3 million followers on TikTok, and then I don't know how many he's got on Instagram, YouTube, and all other stuff. So it has affected him financially. I think he has grounds for a lawsuit. I don't think he should. I think he should just take his lumps and then,
other than a lawsuit might potentially help with reputation repair. However, you open yourself up to discovery, and then maybe all the times that you've had blown women out from TikTok,
right,
little sweet nothings you've said to them, maybe it will look a little bit like fraud, like you're telling them it's just me and you, baby. And it's not, so anyone that's dated, we've all been there, where you thought someone was one person and it turns out they weren't what you thought that they were.
Well, that goes back to that whole thing, is you don't really get to know the person you're with until 6 months into the relationship. That's when all the facades and all the bullshit fades away.
Right. And even then, change. So you can be married
right.
years and they become somebody that you don't even recognize. Doesn't mean that they assaulted you.
Right. Well, Natalie, it's late for you, and it's like 10:30 over there. I'm sure you've got some sort of really important, high-profile case that you got to work on, because that's what you do, right?
Allegedly.
Speaking of allegedly, I don't know if you've seen my latest video, but there's an allegedly guy on there that you might want to look at, just because. And this is not me trying to get you to watch my stuff, but if you want to uncomfortably laugh at somebody who's a sovereign citizen, then yeah.
Is it something that I want to react to? Maybe I'll react to it and tag you on the channel.
You might enjoy it. It's going to be a little out of left field from the normal sovereign citizen stuff that you've tackled in the past.
Okay.
I have a little bit longer of a history with this particular subject because he comes from the flat Earth community, which I started covering like two
Yeah,
years ago.
I never got into them because that is
Don't.
okay. Okay, so sovereign citizens is like, the law, it's a thing. And then you like, make up your own laws, right? But I can't wrap my brain around flat earth. Like how
Yeah.
that's even possible to get there.
Yeah.
I like there's science thing and like just making up your own science, like it's literally fantasy land. Like I just cannot engage on that. So my hats off to any of you who get into the flat earth stuff because I can't do it.
I got into it because I know a real life flat earther. Like he's one of my best friends in the entire world, but he is just a little out there with this stuff. We were playing poker one night and he was talking about this girl he was going to meet up with. And I said, I just made this offhanded comment. Well, as long as she's not a flat earther, we're okay. And he just like froze and looked at me. I said, you gotta be fucking kidding me. He's like, no, man, the earth is flat and all this stuff. And that's when I got into it on the YouTube side. And I started looking at all this stuff he's sending me. Like, this is so bullshit. You gotta be come on. The level of mental gymnastics you have to go through to make this just anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it is an interesting subject if you ever feel dumb. Go watch some flat earth stuff. You'll instantly feel better about yourself, I promise.
Like, oh man, I missed this issue at the trial. I forgot to preserve this issue. I forgot to make this objection. Let me go watch some flat earthers.
Yeah, and you're like, yes, I feel better. I'm still smart, damn it. Natalie, it was lovely to have you on. I'm so glad you decided to stop by and hang out with us and have a discussion, an important discussion, I think, because we need to talk about these types of things.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me on in my PJs.
Oh, anytime.
On my cell phone and not on my computer. So sorry about that. But you guys have a lovely evening. Enjoy the rest of your stream and have a good night.
All right, Natalie, thank you for stopping by. Make sure you guys go check out Natalie Luerchick if you are not familiar. I'm sure your link will be somewhere around here. I've got it. I could have swore I put it in the stinking description, but look at me.
Natalie Luerchick. That's me. All one. Because I couldn't make it easy by making it something short.
It could have been like, hey, me. No.
You see this girl right here?
There she is.
Yeah, that's me.
All right. I'll put that link down there in the old descriptions. What? Okay, I swear to God, I'll subscribe to your channel. I'm telling you, YouTube kicked me off a lot of people's channels recently.
Well, then subscribe. Let's get that subscriber count up.
I just did
75,000 subscribers like a couple weeks ago or last week or something. So
you're at 76.3 right now. So
that's nice.
Yeah, you're doing pretty good, I gotta say.
I try not to pay too much attention to it because it makes me a little self-conscious. So
do you do that YouTube thing like when you first started, like every other minute you're looking at, all right, check my stats. All right, check my stats. Yeah.
Eventually you'll learn not to do it because it'll kind of like, the way I think of it is this: comparison is the thief of joy. And so I'm comparing numbers from video to video and I'm like, oh, well, then I have to make a video exactly like that to get that many views. First of all, that doesn't always work, right? Many times it doesn't. You never know why a certain video might not hit. But then I started to get like bored with it because I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore, And then I said, but F it. I'm just going to do and react to or analyze whatever I feel like. I'm going to switch it up and hopefully my subscribers come along for the ride. And then I try to take their input, but try not to get too bogged down in the numbers. It's hard to say in the beginning. I used to watch every video when it first came out to see like, if it would hit 100 views in the day, I would just be like, oh my God,
right.
This is so awesome. Like, remember that feeling when just 100 views made you feel like this is the best thing ever. And try to remember that perspective when like, oh, the video that used to get 10K only gets 5K. Like, oh, 5K is great. Remember when you only got 100,
Right. Yeah.
So.
Exactly.
Okay, guys. Good night.
All right, Natalie. We'll see you next time. Have a good one.
I'm sorry. Someone said something about SC. R.I.P. Schrodinger's cat. The best to ever.
Yep.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye, Natalie. All right. Man, that was fun. She is such a joy to talk to. I've always appreciated her point of view and her ability to reason and put things into easily digestible language for us non-legally speakers. Natalie is great. You guys have been awesome. I hope you enjoyed the show today. Really do appreciate everyone showing up and having a good time speaking with me. And, like I said, I didn't want to ignore the chat. I was reading the chat while having the conversations. There's a lot of people that made some confessions and whatnot in there. And, to everybody who has gone through these types of situations, my heart truly goes out to you. If you ever need anything, feel free to reach out, and whatever resources I can direct you to, I'm more than happy to help out in those circumstances. I hope that everybody who's gone through these traumatic experiences has some sort of support system to help them out. That's one of the most important things you can do is surround yourself with people who are going to give you that positive influence, that positive support to get you through some of this terrible shit that's gone down. So, again, if you don't have that, please reach out, and I'll see what I can do to help direct you to getting that help. Because I want to see everybody, live and strive and have productive and fulfilling lives, because, man, you get bogged down with the everyday bullshit, and it gets to be a drag sometimes. So, like I said, I want to see you guys, all of you, even people who disagree with me, people who fucking hate my guts. I don't want to see you guys. I don't want anything bad to happen to you guys. I want y'all to be excellent. That's what I want to see. Everybody, good times and whatnot. Maybe I'm too much of a hippie. Who knows? Skits Crasher for $2 says, goodbye, Johnny O. Thanks for being you. Absolutely. Thank you, Skits Crasher. Thank you to all my super chatters and members and patrons and viewers and subscribers and everybody who's commenting. Everybody's having an awesome time in the show. I really do appreciate it. I've got a video coming out tomorrow. It's going to be kind of a mini wrap. We're going to be redoing the news show. We're going to change it up a little bit, but yeah, J Carr, absolutely. Absolutely, you are 100% correct. You never forget an essay. You can move on. It's these traumatic experiences, you never forget them. It's learning how to live with them and learning how to, yeah. But anyway, you guys are awesome. Thank you so much. New video coming out tomorrow. I'm about to record it right now. Actually, you guys are great. I really do appreciate it. So we all know what time it is. That's right. Up and Out says, I learned that sex is dangerous. It can be. It can also be really fun. As always, I'm Johnny O. We all know what time it is. That's right. It's finger guns, baby. It's going to work. It's going to work. It's going to work.